Hello, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. If you are visiting this channel for the very first time, in this channel we talk about a host of topics. Topics focused on personal development, holistic growth, and topics also related to spirituality. And the whole purpose of this channel is to make you a better person, and so that you honor the authenticity, so that you become a better version of yourself. And always remember, when you work on yourself and you become a better version of yourself, you are not only an asset to yourself, but you are also an asset to the entire world. You are not only an asset to the people around you, but you become that indispensable person which the world looks up to. And also another important aspect of this channel is to infuse and spread positivity, because we live in a very chaotic world where negativity is considered normal, stress is considered normal. So in a world which is so infused and so infiltrated with chaos, I think it is uber important for each of us to talk more about things which motivate, which inspire our soul from deep within, because we are all are enrolled in this journey called life, and we are all a work in progress. So it is essential and also indispensable that we all are able to share positive, uplifting content across. So if you really enjoy this genre of content, do like, share, and subscribe this channel. Coming to the topic and the focus of this video. In the last video, we were talking about the leader leading without a title, inspired from this phenomenal book called The Leader Who Had No Title. If you haven't watched the part 1 of this series, I would highly recommend you to go and watch that first before you view this. However, in this video, we are going to talk about the second leadership conversation, which was curated in that particular in this masterpiece, right? It's called The Leader Who Had No Title. It's written by Robin Sharma. Now, in the second leadership conversation, the central theme of that conversation is turbulent times build tough leaders, build great leaders, build legendary leaders. Now, when I heard this theme, the immediate story which came in my mind was of Thomas Alva Edison. As I work in a corporate which owes its magnanimous legacy to none other than Thomas Alva Edison, I'm always inspired and enthralled about this phenomenal legend who lived, about the way he processed reality, the way his perception was so sharpened to the extent that he could see the most catastrophic tragedies as opportunities. Let me go to the story of what exactly happened to Thomas Alva Edison. Edison, along with his son, was witnessing the complete annihilation, the complete destruction of his life's work, wherein his factory, the place where he had created his stellar inventions, were completely burning in front of his very own eyes. His child, his son, like you and me, had that usual reaction, completely baffled, completely rattled, completely shocked to witness such an event, while Edison had a brief smile on his face. And his son was completely amazed by that smile, and he said, "Father, what the hell? Why are you smiling? Our entire life's work is burning." And Edison said that, "My son, my life's work is burning, that's right, but also all the mistakes which I had done till this point of time have also burned. So tomorrow is a fresh opportunity for me to start fresh." Now, if you think about this kind of a mindset, right, it might not sound very conventional, it might sound very unnatural, but that's how leaders are, that's how legends are. They have a very refined way of looking at life, they have a very refined way of looking at situations, and that refined way of looking at situations serves them. Because oftentimes it is said that 90% of what happens to our life is not what happens to us, but how we respond to those situations. Only 10% of the things in our life happen by default, but 90% of things which happen in our life is subject to the way we respond to situations. So essentially, 90% of our life is in our hands. How we respond to challenges, how we respond to topsy turvy times is completely our free will, completely our choice. Completely is a product of the way we perceive reality. Coming back to this particular concept, the turbulent times build great leaders. So in this book, when we are talking about the second leadership conversation, there's a beautiful acronym which is again given to sort of summarize the key learnings of what the central theme is trying to suggest to us. It talks about spark, right? So in spark, every letter has a particular meaning, and that particular lesson at that particular granular quality, if we inculcate in our lives, if we inculcate in our mindset, it will help us to live through this consciousness of leading without a title. As I mentioned in my first video, to lead you don't need a title, you just need to operate through a different mindset. You need to look at reality through a different lens. As is a beautiful quote which says, when life gets blurry, adjust your focus. Now coming to the acronym SPARK. Now S in the SPARK stands for speak with candor. Now when we say speak with candor, right, it is about communication, right communication. When we talk about communication, when you talk about the great leaders, one distinguishing quality you would have observed on all leaders is they are excellent communicators. Now communication doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be a great orator. You might be a great orator, but the essence of communication is that you are able to communicate, to make the other person understand, to portray, to able to make the other person step in your shoes of your thought process. That's communication. Communication is not as simple as people perceive it as. It's not just limited to having a good hold on diction, a good hold on vocabulary, a good hold on language, a good hold on your confidence. That's not communication. That's a very superficial way of looking at communication. When we talk about speak with candor, you're speaking with deep sense of authenticity, but we are speaking with a deep sense of respect. Suppose there is something which is not working out. You don't go and say that you have been a pathetic person, these things are not working out. Instead, you say that I really appreciate the kind of efforts you've been putting, but I think this is a better opportunity to improve your particular aspect which you need to work on. Communication is not about plastic sloganeering. Communication is about being authentic, but being assertive and polite at the same time. That's communication. That's the quality of speak with candor. Of course, we need to be straight at times, but that doesn't mean that we tear the person completely apart. Because no good has ever been brought about by demotivating or pulling another person down. Evil can never produce good. Motivation and inspiration, if you want a change, that needs to happen through a certain process which is instilled with a deep sense of respect and a deep sense of authenticity. And some leaders who are excellent communicators understand this. Leaders who are doing great in their particular domain, be it political leadership, be it corporate leadership, or be it at any walk of life. As I mentioned in my previous video, it need not be confined to any role, because this entire philosophy talks about leading without a title. Speaking with candor, having excellent communication is a very crucial quality of leading without a title. Communicating your thoughts, your viewpoints without being very hurting to the person who you are giving the feedback. Being absolutely positive, but also being assertive and clearly articulating what you need to express. That is speak with candor. Coming to point number, the letter P in the SPARK acronym. P stands for prioritize. Now, prioritization is something which we have all have heard about. Prioritization is something which is very important in our day-to-day life, because let's remember, confusion builds more chaos. If you have a plethora of options at your disposal at any given point of time, you won't be able to choose between them. And the more you stand confused between your different priorities, you feel drained out, because you don't know at what point of time what needs to be done. So prioritization need not have a lot of explanation as to why it's important. It is a very indispensable requirement for productivity. If you are not able to prioritize your work, if you're not able to prioritize your health, if you're not able to prioritize your relationships, sooner or later they are going to die. Sooner or later they are going to have a degraded sense, a degraded kind of a quality into them. So, in order to make choices, better choices, prioritization, what is on my first, like in day-to-day basis, right? What are the things I cannot be without? What are the things which are considered to be my must? That needs to be absolutely clear, because remember, clarity precedes mastery. Unless you are extremely clear about something in life, you cannot master it. I am reminded of a beautiful excerpt from one of the videos of Sadhguru, wherein the whole context of that particular conversation was on confidence, as to how important being confident is. And Sadhguru gave a beautiful example. He said that confidence is an okay quality to have, but what is a more important quality to have is clarity. He gave a beautiful example wherein he said, let's say that you enter into a dark room. Now, deep within, you are extremely confident, and you try to move around the room with deep sense of confidence, because you're confident, you know you are something. But won't that be a foolish way to approach life? Because you're not clear where you're heading. Hence, it's clarity which is more important than confidence. And clarity can be brought about by constantly questioning yourself as to what is needed and what are the things which needs to be completely cut off from your life, which don't deserve your attention and time. And that will help you in trying to prioritize. So, coming to the point A of the SPARK acronym, A talks about adversity breeds opportunity, right? So the biggest catastrophes the history has ever witnessed has always paved ways to build new opportunities. It's always said that destruction and something which is coming to an end always provides room for something new, something which could be better than what was before. As I gave you the example of Thomas Alva Edison's story, there are innumerous stories wherein people were completely destroyed from all aspects of their life, but again they bounced back and they became a better version of themselves. Let's say that you are going through a crisis. Just ask yourself, just try to shift the way you look at that reality. Just change the mindset through which you are perceiving or trying to analyze that particular situation or reality. Ask yourself, what is the opportunity this particular situation is giving me? How can I respond to this situation in a better way? What is the opportunity hidden in this adversity? Because adversities are always, and without a second question or without any doubt, adversities always breeds opportunities. So think about it. When you start to work in this way, when you start to think in this way, your brain and your mind will start to operate from a different zone. Because right now we were in a survival zone. So even in neuroscience, right, there's a lot of focus on survival emotions. When the way the human brain was designed, it's a phenomenal way, the way the human brain has evolved over the centuries. Our brain was always designed to sense fear. We are always in this flight or fight response. In modern day neuroscience, this is called as the flight and fight response, wherein we are either trying to fight the situation or we are trying to flight from the situation. But when you are operating to the survival mode, you won't be in the creative zone. You won't come up with solutions to problems, because for you right now that situation poses a threat. A threat to what is comfortable as per your definition, threat to this, to that thought as to what should be right at this moment of time. But if you are stuck in the survival zone, you won't be able to come with creative solutions to that problem, and you won't be able to see the opportunities in that adversity. So, this change of mindset and the shift of consciousness needs to happen if you want to see opportunities in adversities. As I give this beautiful example, that if you see a huge building, if you go near the huge building and try to witness the building from bottom, it will be huge. But if you are witnessing the same building from an airplane and you're just flying across that building, that same building looks to be a puny structure to you. Now, what has changed? The building hasn't changed, but the position through which you're looking at it is changed. The consciousness, the mindset through which you were looking at the same situation has changed. Now, this is what is being talked about here. Adversity breeds opportunities. And when you stop labeling problems as problems, when you start considering adversities as problems, rather start thinking adversities as opportunities, as a vehicles for growth for your own being. Because in life, whatever happens to push us outside of our shackles of complacency, shackles of comfort zone. So constantly contemplate and ask yourself, what is the lesson, what is the experience, what is the particular vehicle of growth? How can I use this adversity form to my own advantage? When you start operating through this, our brain will start working from a different zone, and it will come up with creative solutions to that adversity. And you will come out of that adversity with flying colors. This was the A in the SPARK acronym. Now coming to R. R stands for respond versus react. As I mentioned, our brain is always stuck in survival zone. Either we are fighting or we are flighting. Because it likes to be in the safe zone as per its definition. And when that definition is threatened, and that definition is being threatened by a situation or by some sort of a challenge, the brain starts to think in survival zone. And when we talk about reacting, right, we can either react through fighting or flighting. There's a beautiful concept I learned through one of the videos of Brahmakumari Sister Shivani. She said something beautiful. She said that the people who are world transformers, right, transform the kind of response. Now there are three ways of responding, right? One is the conventional way, like if I abuse you, you abuse me. It's called the tit for tat philosophy, right, which most of the world operates through. Second is you absorb the negativity. If some challenge or some threat is there, you don't react, but you absorb it internally. You play the victim. So this is the second way through which you can approach. Now third is something which a very few people in this planet are capable of doing, that is called transform. Now when you talk about transform, right, it means that you know what is right for you, and you send the energy, you send the kind of reaction which would be more viable if you want to receive the same kind of reaction. You don't react the same way the other person is reacting, but you react in a way which completely transforms the situation. That is what is meant by react versus respond versus react. You are responding through a higher plane of consciousness. You are not responding through the immature way of consciousness which most of the world are accustomed to do. This is what is being talked about. If you look at the great leaders, right, I am reminded of an excerpt from Ratan Tata's life, wherein one of the huge automobile companies had sort of insulted him when he had a business proposal for them. And Ratan Tata didn't react to that insult back then. The automobile company had insulted Mr. Tata, and had sort of spoken lowly of his own company and his own performance. But Tata did not respond in the whimsical ways which we are fond of doing. He chose to be silent. And years later, Tata bought that company. So that is what a hallmark of a leader is. He does not respond, he does not react in the way like maniacs. He does not react through anger, he does not react through revenge, but he responds through his actions. That is the hallmark of a true leader. Now, coming to K, kudos for everyone. Now, one thing we always need to understand is when we are talking about leadership, when we are talking about stepping up our game, we always need to operate through this consciousness of contribution. We shouldn't become so self-obsessed with this whole concept that I am something great and I am a mark above from everyone, and that's not the way you need to work. That's not the way you need to function. There's always this question which needs to be asked deep within, that how am I adding value? How am I providing my services? Because true leaders always think about what is the contribution they can provide. And if you have that kind of a mindset, if you operate through this mindset of service leadership, as Swami Vivekananda also talked about, your complete sense of operation, your complete sense of viewing a situation is based on this foundation of humility rather than arrogance. Because people who are arrogant, leaders who are arrogant, are not people who are deeply adored and respected. They might be feared, but they are not adored and respected. People who come from a place of service, from a place of contribution, those are the leaders who are deeply respected, deeply looked upon, right? Those are the people who are being considered inspiration. So I hope you really liked this acronym SPARK. A quick recap: SPARK, S stands for Speak with Candor, P stands for Prioritize, A stands for Adversity Breeds Opportunity, R stands for Respond versus React, and K stands for Kudos to Everyone. Hope this video was of value to you, and if you really loved this video, do share the content, do share this video with 3 or 4 of your friends so that you spread more and more of your knowledge. And if you enjoy this genre of content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We have a few more subsequent leadership conversations where we will discuss different central themes as well as acronyms which will encapsulate what are the central key messages that each of us can inculcate in our consciousness, brain tattoo in our mindset, so that we operate through this consciousness of leading without a title. That's all for this video. Thank you, and meet you in the next video.